Welcome to the Rachel and Ron Show, featuring fun and deep discussions about the things that affect female entrepreneurs most, as well as tangible tools to grow their business, all the while living their best lives. And now, give it up for your hosts, Rachel and Ron. There it is.
Hello,
right.
Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Rachel. Good morning. I do. We're gonna add the cantankerous. Is that the word? We're gonna add the music later. That's been driving us nutty.
Yeah.
But I do kind of miss the thing, and so I'm gonna do. I feel like I want to sing the song that inspired the whole thing, which is Feel the magic in the air. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Kola gufbo air. It's a song in Hebrew.
Yeah, it's so good. It gets me in the right energy because this morning was a little stressful.
Yeah, what happened this morning, yo?
I mean, I don't want to complain too much because we are in Beaver Creek, so coming in live from the mountains. But my family was getting ready to go on the slopes and they needed me to drop them off. And so I was like, listen, I'm taking this vacation with you. I have one commitment. It's on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Okay, people? I need everyone to be on time. But then there's real life. And so when they weren't on time, I got a little bit anxious. I don't like to be late. So I'm sorry we're late to the show today.
I know. Being late is rough. I hate it. Even if I'm a minute or two late to Zoom, it's a theater thing. 10 minutes early is on time, and I remember it's planted in my brain from high school. Like if you show up late to rehearsal, someone else will get the spot. I don't know why. I just feel you. In business, I'm I get so scared about being late, but it's all good. No one's mad.
I know. Well, and I think that's part of the permission I try to give myself every single day is that when you have your own business, you own it. Nothing is a problem. Nothing's a big deal in a lot of ways, right? So you're late. You apologize. You ask for forgiveness and you move on.
It's so true. That's such a good lesson. Oh my God, that's such a good lesson. Today and tomorrow, I had to do a bunch of reshuffling. And so I have a client who's in Florida. I'm going to see her tomorrow at 6 a.m. And then I have a client at 8 and then a client at 10. And then a client at 1, and I'm but because I had to schedule people's, I had to reshuffle people's schedule, but that's the beauty of what we do. So I'm gonna nap Thursday, or you know what I mean,
I love that. I'm gonna nap in 3.5 days. That's perfect. Awesome.
But we have that power.
So anyway,
right?
thanks for the music because it just gets me centered again and excited and ready for my day.
Ready? Already? Well, it's like I always say, you struggle through your day, got your head hung low, your smile's a shade of gray. We're just talking about Greatest Showman.
Greatest Showman is such a good show. Holy cow. And talk about, our guest today is Natalie Gentry, and I have heard so much about her, and I don't know her well, so I'm excited to get to chat with her. But I know she's going to talk about intuition, and I also want to ask her about it's not greed, but sort of almost the flip of some of the work that she does, right? So when we think about the Greatest Showman, right, and business building and how do you maintain that humility as you're getting really big and that level of connectedness to the people, right? Your people, your community. We'll have to remember to
call. That's the whole in Greatest Showman from now on, the scene at the end where he's and all was lost is all I gained, and it led me back to you from now, right? Where it's he brings it back to the people. I mean, he does a lot of bad things that I feel are not and then he leaves his family and then he just runs them and they're great, you're here. Personally, I know that that's not how that works, but regardless, good call, Rachel. Good spinning it around. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And Natalie Gentry is a dancer as well. She does a lot of dance work too, and
really?
was a dancer and is a dancer, and so she's a showman too. She's a showwoman.
Cool.
Not a showgirl, but that's
Right. No, that's a different market altogether.
That's a different thing. Yeah. But can I tell you? Wait, real quick. How are things in your business though? We never talk about your biz. How's your business?
Oh my gosh, things are so good. I am so excited about the year. January was, I think, my best month yet.
Oh,
And yesterday I dropped 5 figures on a mastermind.
oh my God.
And I can't even tell you how excited I am about this mastermind. I know that this is going to be the thing that
Oh.
really helps me jump to the next level. Um, that is one of the scariest and most exciting things that I've done in my business. Yeah, let's talk about that. 5 figures on a mastermind. Um, one of my coaches, what was she saying? I'm trying to remember exactly how she said it, but basically, like, when you do that, it's not all bucks riding on the coach. Like, I am going to show up
Yeah.
with amazing amounts of energy and excitement and this desire to learn and grow. And so I'm in that place right now. So my business is so good.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
That's a big commitment, right? And that's showing the universe you're like, I'm ready. I'm ready to expand, right? I'm ready to
totally.
grow.
Totally. The message is I'm ready for this and I'm going to make it happen. And yeah, I'm going to have to do the work to make that money back and to make it happen. And I know I can. And it's
Yeah.
like that combination of being really excited and really confident about something while also being nervous enough that it keeps
Right.
that flame going.
Right, because if you weren't nervous about it, you wouldn't be doing the work like to be like, okay, well, let's inspire some change. Let's inspire some action,
Right, right.
right?
Otherwise, you get like you sit back into status quo a little bit or coasting gear.
Yeah.
And there's no coasting happening right now.
There's
So
like no room for that coasting.
no, no.
Rachel, that's huge. That's a huge thing. Could you imagine 5 years ago? Like Rachel from 5 years ago, not wearing a mask and being able to like walk in public, but also, uh,
So
but
true.
could you imagine 5 years ago being like, hey, we're gonna drop 5 figures on a mastermind that's gonna revolutionize our bit? She'd probably be like, where's that coming from, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember when I hired my first business coach, it was Megan Conter, the mistress of marketing.
yeah,
And I don't even think she's coaching one-on-one clients anymore, but I think I spent like 6K with her. And it was so scary. And what I found, Ron, is any time that I've invested in my business, that money has come back to me multiply. Like
yeah,
it there's just this energy exchange that happens like when I put it out there that I'm investing, I believe in myself, I believe in this business, I believe in its potential to continue to grow.
yeah.
That's exactly what ends up happening. And so um yeah, so that
It's so
was
true.
what, like 3.5 years ago maybe, that I hired Megan. And I've been in some smaller group programs between then and now, but I'm really excited to be in this very focused space with somebody I really believe in.
That's so huge what you said too, and I think like, and I don't mean to come off like a car salesman as a coach here, and both of us are coaches. Like, but it's I see it with my clients so much, and I just kind of want that. Let that be a lesson to you. Like, I want to put it out
Yeah.
there that like I see it so much with my clients. I see it with myself too. Like, if literally if I call you or Megan, like things change for me, you know. But with in general, like when you put down, like you're like, yo, I'm gonna invest in myself and my growth. I always see it. And so if there's any coaches out there, and I think a lot of women in the real community, especially our coaches, healers, therapists, like people, even advisors and consultants, right? Like if you have any imposter syndrome, I think out there, you're not alone, but also like just know that like what you do matters and it helps. And
Yeah.
so like people will invest in you because it's that when someone invests in themselves, like the universe goes, okay, you're serious. Let's send a bunch of great stuff your way.
Right. Totally. Yeah. That's exactly the message. I'm serious about this. I'm not playing the little leagues.
No, you big time.
Big
This is why
time.
I'm so excited for next year's if I'm invited to the Share Impact conference because I feel like it's like the prom and I still haven't gone yet, but it's I mean I went to the prom in high school, but like I feel like it's like the prom for like female entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like when it goes back, like you'll be in a like a bigger time space, like everybody will be in a bigger time space. So anyway, I'm just saying when you said like you're ready for the big leagues, I was like that's what's up, and I feel like I sorry I keep bringing it up, but I feel like the conference is going to reflect that.
Yeah, thanks. No pressure at all to put on the conference, right?
No, and maybe like I apologize for like rubbing salt on a wound right now, but I so I apologize for that. But I'm just saying in the future it's gonna be great. Like it's gonna be huge.
It's going to be huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me tell you, like a little bit of the behind the scenes here with my thinking, and this is not something that I've talked about, I don't think, on the show. Um, but I spent 2020 like really streamlining my business and getting more focused because one of the mistakes that I made and that I see a lot of new business owners making is spreading themselves too thin, trying to offer several different programs and services and making different offers. And that's just a recipe for confusion. It's confusion for the potential client because, like, you're like, well, I can do this for you, I can do this for you, or I can help you in this way. And they're like, I don't know, I just wanted you to tell me. And it's also confusion for you as the provider because we just are spreading ourselves so thin instead of going deeper. And so what I did was I really spent 2020 trying to determine how I wanted my business to look and feel and run, and then shifting everything in that direction. And so I offer two things now, and it'll be interesting to see if the conference can be woven back into that, come 2022.
Okay, then I will stop talking about it. I hear you. I hear what you're
That's
saying.
all right.
But that's huge, Rachel. And like I think do you feel like there's a like a and this plays into Natalie. Natalie's a perfect guest for this. But do you feel like there's a balance though of where a lot of people are taught pick one thing and just be an expert in it, or within like let's say you're offering four things but it's still one idea, right? Like I speak to clients about this all the time that like if you're, let's say the one thing is I help women feel more empowered, so the modalities I use are hypnotherapy, um, you know, enneagram work and abundance mindset, whatever it is, right? Like you can offer things like that, right? But the one thing you're really offering is help in empowerment or in confidence or in relationships, or do you know what I'm saying? Or do you feel like it has to be more specific than that?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely give you some pushback there. I for
Mm.
sure think it needs to be more specific because what does that mean? Like, I help women become more empowered. Isn't that what all women want? I mean, maybe you don't. I don't know. But I feel like that's what all women want. We want to feel more empowered, right? We want to feel confident. We want to feel good about the way we're doing things. We want to feel like we have control over our future, right? To create what it is that we want. So I actually think that it does need to be much more specific, that making an offer to somebody that's like, I'll help you become more empowered, it's just way too vague. And so when you can say, I help women uh, tap into, I'm trying to think of a good example, but I help women, tell their story through video or whatever it is, or I help women get more confident about showing up on video, then the potential client says to themselves, oh yes, that's my person because I'm looking to get more confident about showing up on video, right? And so when you say I help you either through, you know, yoga or hypnotherapy or enneagram work, or I have a group program or I have a one-on-one program, it's like it's just a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot to manage as a business owner as well.
Great point. That's a huge point, and definitely like I'm in the process of streamlining myself here, and like I for what it's worth, like yeah, it's not pushback at all. Like you're saying the good stuff because I have a new client who's an astrologer, and she like read my charts last week, and it was really cool. She's like, you're gonna have the best financial year of your life. Like she's like, this is gonna be incredible. Like you're gonna do great. But you have to like she said it nicely. She's like, whatever you decide to do, it's gonna go great. But you have to decide to do it. And
Mm,
I was like, oh wow, what about coming from that perspective, like in life, like coming from a perspective of whatever I'm gonna do is gonna work. And that was a mindset shift completely.
yes.
For me, it was huge. But and I should say, it also made me look at everything I offer, and I'm like, there are like clients that I'll do anything for because I just adore them, and if I have the skill, they rather work with me because of the core. The core is going to be directing, Like the core, I'm going to direct them in a way that's comfortable for them. So whether that be they want me to direct their podcast, or sometimes, a lot of times this happens, they find it's just easier for me to be a host on their podcast, right? So now I'm a host, I'm a director, I help them write their material, right? So then but it's all in service of one thing, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. Is like the example I used wasn't good with the empowerment, but like let's say you said control. So control, there's, let's say to
Or
gain.
choice, if I can just add in choice.
So let's say I help.
Control or choice, it's kind of like this similar.
Right. So to like be in charge of their choices, right? So to do that, you might need to be an expert in clearing something, or right, like you might need to know how to, like hypnotherapy is an example of clearing, and then you might need to know modality of the. That's what I'm trying to get at, is the example I used wasn't great, but like I think that my opinion is you can do. And next week we have a great example of this. We have a Renaissance soul who's going to be our guest next week, Carrie Van Joseph. She's a great example of, she learned so many different things under the house of visual storytelling. Under the house of like web design.
Well, here's the thing, Ron. It's not that, and I think it's a great place for people to start, but you can't scale on that, right? You can't scale on offering being the director or the host because these are all one-off sales, if you will, right? So you can't scale. So if you really want to grow past that first 6-figure mark, and maybe like into the second, then we have to look at, well, how can we streamline to a point where you're just going, the number, like this is like easy math, right? So you offer something for $100, right? And you can only accommodate 10 clients on your schedule because we all only have 168 hours in the week.
Right.
Right. So how are you going to get past 10 clients then? Right. So that's when the getting really focused, being very clear about what your offer is, becomes so important.
100%. Okay, that makes so much. No, I love that. I'm like, and obviously I'm like taking notes in my head. I'm like, okay, well, and you and I are gonna actually talk this week about this. Riddle me this then. Okay, I'm gonna push back one more time, but I'm with you. I 100% agree with you. What about this? What do you agree that there's value then when someone's starting their business and they haven't even, like, they're in the process of getting towards full time, where they just want to test themselves and figure out what they do successfully, and then they go, okay, I offer 3 or 4 things, and let's see which one takes off and which one I'm going to scale. But I can't pick it until I'm in it every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so you said until it takes off, right? So I think that it's twofold. Like it has to be something that people are willing to pay for, right? So that's
Right.
the taking off part. And I believe it has to be something you really want to do, that you want to wake up to every single day. So yeah, I don't see it as a problem to offer those 3 or 4 things, especially in that first year, as you're just kind of getting your feet wet and really trying to solidify, like, what is my sweet spot? Like, what is that zone of genius where I feel like people are coming to me, right? For what I have to offer and the way I do it. And it lights me up to be able to help them and to keep serving. And I want to serve more people. And when you say that to yourself, I want to serve more people, it's time to go deeper.
Cool. Oh, this is so helpful for me right now, because like literally yesterday I like started doing the working on my business, which I haven't done in a long time because I've been so busy. And so I was like just like walking around the apartment, just going, like it was like the first moment of like slowing down and not just being like, okay, I gotta call, I gotta work, we're gonna, I'm like, what is it? What is the thing? At any rate, all right, we'll talk. So I want to bring Natalie on because this is a perfect.
Yeah, let's bring her on.
Yeah,
I know.
this is
I want to
perfect.
hear. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Natalie Gentry. Welcome to the show.
How are you?
Natalie,
great.
We're great.
Okay. Oh gosh, you know what? Here, let me turn. I was watching you on my phone, so I didn't want the feedback. So here we go. I'm all good now.
You're the best now. So Natalie, it's so good to have you here. We're going to talk about your history and your resume and all that good stuff. But I know, like you and I had spoken a lot last year about this. Like you are the perfect example of someone who put it all together, right? And like you're
Mhm.
crushing it now. Like, because we were just talking about this idea of like, do you, you know, when you're first starting your biz, do you start with like, okay, I'm just gonna sell like lemon popsicles, or
Mhm.
do you say I'm gonna offer popsicles, ice cream bars, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
how was it for you? What was that journey like for you? To discover what that true zone of genius is and how to connect that to other women and other people, you know?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. And let me see. It for me, it was a journey because when I graduated from massage school, you know, we graduate with different modalities. But what happened for me was that I kept on following my interests. And as I continued, or as my practice evolved, so did my interests. And as my interests evolved, so did my practice. And there was one point, I'd say a few years ago, when I realized I really just want to focus on, um, I was doing therapeutic deep tissue massage. I was doing Maya abdominal massage, and I do have a menu of different things. But there came a point where I just decided, you know what I really primarily want to focus on are women who want to come closer to their own bodies, women who want to be more empowered as far as what's going on for them, as far as their cycles are concerned. And what I did was I had all of these other modalities, and I could see how they weave into the process, so that women could so that women could have more tools in their tool belt. I've taught them how to do my abdominal massage. I've taught them how to do yoni steams. I've taught them how to do transformational breath, because how we breathe can actually play a role in how our bodies function as well. And so I created a program around that. And so that's what I have done. But I also hear what you're saying, Rachel, as far as, building out the scale, because that's what I'm now doing as well. Rather than just working one-on-one with people, what I am in the process of doing is I'm really feeling like I'm stepping into my crone energy, where I'm ready to actually get out and teach people. And so that's the direction that I'm moving in now, so that I can reach a larger group of people.
That's beautiful. So I have a question. Did that come from, and I think a lot of people watching will want to know this, did that come from like a feeling that you had just kind of arrived in your zone of genius, like in that sweet spot that really fueled you personally and professionally while also serving? Or did it come from feeling like you were fully booked out and you wanted to more tailor the kinds of clients that were coming your way?
Yes, to all of it, really. I'm the type of person who tends not to stay put for too terribly long, and so I enjoy growing and I enjoy expanding. And what I was finding over the years, and I got an inkling of it when I went to massage school. But what happened for me was and when I say an inkling of it, what I mean is body centered awareness, and using the body to help us to find and claim and connect more fully with ourselves, and then more fully with what's going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been kind of an evolution. And I think that when I connect with what's going on in my core and what's going on in my heart, yes, there is that expansion. And yes, there is wanting to create more knowledge and everything. And then there's also that pragmatic thing as well, where it's like, well, okay, I really want for my business to grow and everything because, I keep on hitting my own ceilings as well. And so how do you expand that out? And I think also, I became really aware, when I turned 50, that I was going from being in a practice to actually really sharing what it is that I've learned over the years, and really being able to be in a space of owning that and feeling good about what it is that I've learned, to the point where I really feel it could be helpful to share it as well.
I love when you say things like, oh, when you turned 50, because I'm just like, okay, you're kidding, but when you will turn 50, I get it. That will be
You're
the
so
case.
sweet.
Um, think what
Oh my
so this is huge, and this is like it's always so great to talk to you because wherever you're at, you always do kind of project this beautiful like awareness of intuition, of self, of like wherever I'm at is the best place I can be.
God.
Was there ever, as a solopreneur especially, was there ever a time where you're like, like I can't, this is not working. Oh my god, I'm terrified. Like, were there a lot of those pockets, or at least once or twice?
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yeah. I
That's
think
comforting for everyone to hear.
yeah, absolutely there was. And I've got to admit that when I first started my business, I wanted, I was excited to start it, but there was also a part of me that was always afraid. That was afraid that, okay, now can I really make this work and everything? And and that started working itself out, when, within a few years of starting my business. And then, when I got married, I kind of put my business on the back burner and kind of coasted with it, and didn't really put the energy into my business. And of course, as a result of that, and with the focus that I had at the time, because I was married, I was wanting to start a family and all of that stuff. I did put that on the back burner. But then when I got divorced, and I was like, okay, it's go time. I've been pussyfooting around with this for a while. It's now time to go. There was a time where it was where, yeah, it was terrifying. But this is what I came to realize. And I'm an experiential learner. So, you know, yeah, you can tell me a lot, but it's something that I've got to experience on my own.
Throw you into the wolves, right? And you'll
Oh,
figure it out.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I
And
am.
but what I realized, there came a point where I had to start playing with what would life be like, and what would my approach to my own business be like, if I could just put down that panic bone
Mhm.
and pick up the bone of, I'm just going to focus on what I love and
Mhm.
what I love to do. And when I could take the panic out of it, things flowed more smoothly. Now, and I will say that there are times where I still have, oh my god, I don't think you ever totally get rid of the oh shits. But I do think that that it's a lot easier to flip the script
Yeah, and
when
I
you
think
really
there's
feel
like a
comfortable with where you're coming from and with what you're offering.
yeah, absolutely. And I think there's like this healthy amount of fear that you maintain, and that's the fuel that we were talking about, that flame that keeps us going and really energized around our own growth and inspired to keep going.
Mhm.
And so I think a lot of times people early in their business, when they're so scared and they are feeling like they're in fight or flight mode, that
Mhm.
panic mode you're talking about, and they're like, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And that's not it, right?
Mhm.
Probably all of us goes through that. And it's a matter of dimming the panic, maintaining the fear, like holding space for the fear,
Mhm.
acknowledging that the fear is there while also using it for good.
Yeah.
that power.
There, have you heard of the quote? And I'm going to butcher it, but it resonated so much with me. And they said, if you're doing something and you're feeling fear, you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And the other thing is I've also experienced the opposite, where I got real comfortable, and that is not a good place for me to be in, because then I just start dialing things in. If you're going
Yeah.
to phone it in, then if you're trying to help people grow and you're phoning it in, it, how much help are you really giving people?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and that's the point at which you say, okay, what's next?
Mhm.
Right? And I don't know if you heard earlier, but I was saying to Ron that I just invested 5 figures yesterday in a mastermind,
I
right? So
heard that.
the second you feel like you're getting a little comfy, it's the time to ask yourself, what can I do that's going to scare the crap out of me today?
Right.
And
I agree.
right,
And,
and then that's where you start running to.
and you know, it's
Mhm.
funny talking about scalability, talking about strategy, or really honing in on the zone of genius. I think, and I'm going to speak for myself on this one, is that's to me the scariest, and I think in a good way, right? Like going, oh, you know what? Like I'm gonna potentially risk losing clients because I'm no longer going to offer this to focus on that, right?
Mhm.
So I see that for a lot of entrepreneurs as well, is this idea of like really honing in. Niching is terrifying beyond belief, right? How do we
Mhm.
navigate through that, through those waters of like where it's a good fear, it's like a fear towards something that could lead to something greater, and if you like Natalie, you're saying, if you let curiosity direct you in that direction,
Mhm.
like what's the best way to do that you found in your journeys? And I'll say to both of you, in your
Mm.
journeys, like how did you guys figure out how to navigate moving towards fear versus away from it?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Let me feel on that for a minute. The thing that I come back to is Marianne Williamson's "Your Deepest Fear," where because for me, there have been times where I was just sort of like going, well, who am I, you know, to offer this? And then I hear the answer, who are you not to? And the thing that I realize, as far as my business, the things that really turn me on is really supporting clients to really find the beauty in themselves, and to find the power and the strength to really embrace who they are and how they want to show up on their own terms. And use this, and to use the skills that I have as well, use the skill set that I have, because because my approach is a little different from what the traditional approaches have often been, and everything. And I think a lot of people say, let's talk about empowerment, let's talk about this stuff. What I want to do is help people to come home, because you'll naturally become empowered if you know who you are. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And Natalie, it's so interesting that that was your response, because we've talked about this on the show before. And something that I often say is that there's only one you, and there's this gaping hole in the universe until you step in to fill it. And so it's really the same thing that you're saying, right? There's only one you, and who are you to make the choice to sit back when there are other people out there waiting for you to step into who you are meant to be and to serve, because they need you and they're waiting for you.
Right.
I see you,
Right.
sister.
Yeah.
We're like on
Oh
the
gosh.
same page.
Oh, I like how you think, girl. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what has been your experience too?
Really that,
Mhm.
and reminding myself of that message. And I think that that's something that really helps with the imposter syndrome, because when you truly believe that there's only one you, like you're not out there to try to be anybody else.
Mhm.
And um yeah, it's exactly what I said. Like there's this hole, right? And we each fill a space in the universe, And that's our place to step into. It's like, I'm thinking back to when my kids were toddlers, you know, those like little cubes where you've got the circles and the triangles and the squares and the stars, and like, you can't fit the star in the circle. It just won't go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's just been my experience, is yes, helping people find themselves, right? Really tap into themselves. I love how you say it, come home. And then through that, evolve, be able to build their business from that place.
Yeah. It has to be an inside job, or at least that's been my experience. That's been the least painful way of approaching business, for sure.
So do you only work with entrepreneurs, or tell us a little bit more about who you work with?
Oh gosh, I work with people, you know, with women, and you can be an entrepreneur, but you don't have to be. I actually kind of created the program that I'm evolving into as a result of going kind of through dark night of the soul, and where all of a sudden, I found myself not really, or wondering, who am I anymore? What do I my life isn't making as much sense as I initially thought it, as I initially planned it to be. And so what's going on? And I had to do a real unpacking of who I was, and also a real unpacking of a lot of decisions that I've made, and get back to the nuts and bolts of how I want to move forward from this point on. And so that's kind of how things started for me. And what I have found is that a lot of people who come to sit on my table, or who come to see me, they may come in for massage work or something like that. But what I have found is that my business is evolving more into a coaching, using the massage and using body-centered practice. And so that's where I'm going with.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah. So you offer, but again, it grew out of the body work, right? So it's a natural extension.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Oh my God, Natalie, you you were the perfect person. Like, you were the perfect person for today. Like, oh my God. And it's always such a great way to like start a morning with you. You know, you're always so high energy and positive. So like, thank you so much. This was just awesome. And I think we all got a lot.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me on. It was fun to start my day with you.
Aw, thanks. Now, before you go back into the green room, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on, my website is www.nataliegentry.com, NATALIE.com. And you can also email me at natalie@nataliegentry.com as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Natalie. It was great to chat with you this morning.
Thank you so much.
Natalie,
Have a wonderful one.
I can't hide how much I adore you. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you too. So good to see you. And I look forward to connecting with you again.
Yes. Beautiful, Ron. Thank you for introducing me to Natalie. You know, it's funny because I think we've been following each other on social media for a while, and we haven't ever had the opportunity to meet. And I mean, she's my people. I like her.
She's your people. I met her in 2018, I think. 2018 or 2019. No, I think it was like 2018. And she was just like, I was following her on social media too. It was just like, you know, she just seemed super connected. Like, she was just popping up everywhere. And I was like, who is this person? And then we just met, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, what an incredibly positive person. It does your heart good, you know. I don't just say it to be nice. Like, I mean, like, I say it almost selfishly. Like, you just talking to her, being around her, you just feel so much better. It's like this like aura cleanse, you know?
Yes, totally. And this work she does is so powerful. As I have, and I know she says she works with women in various fields, and, you know, whether women are working out of the home or not out of the home. But this is really, really powerful work for entrepreneurs. And the more that I've stepped into that and really woven that into my schedule, right, and into my plan intentionally, the more I feel like I'm able to actually grow and step more deeply into who I am and into my business. I wrote recently somewhere, one of my posts, that the more I self-care, the more successful I've been. And I think that that speaks exactly to the work that she does. And so it's not like we can do this or we can just, really tap into this masculine side. We really, really need them to work in tandem. And so that's why her work is really powerful.
Oh my, I know self care. I think we talked about it on the show too. It's like self care has been this theme that just comes up for a lot of my clients, at least, like female entrepreneurs, and then also I think just parents in general. Like this notion of like I was my birthday is in 2 weeks, I think. Oh yeah, 2 weeks from today, and yeah, and I was like, or maybe 3 weeks. But I was like, what do I want for my birthday? And I was like, what? Like I had this moment of like, what? Like, and I was like thinking, I was like, that's a thing. I can get myself something for my birthday. I was like, yeah, dude, you get your daughter, you get your family, you get stuff all the time. Self care is like so foreign to me as a parent, and so whereas like people like Natalie just make you go, no, it's like it's vital.
It's not negotiable.
It's
Yeah.
not negotiable.
Yeah.
Like you will suffer if you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah. Can I give you a gift idea before we wrap?
I love you so much. Yes.
Okay, because we got a robotic vacuum a few months ago, and his name is Yuffie. And Yuffie is not so secretly my new favorite child because he cleans up after himself. And, if there's something on the floor, it's no longer there. Like, it's beautiful. I don't have to ask twice, type of thing. That is a gift of self-care. I no longer have to vacuum my floors or sweep 4 times a day because Yuffie's got it covered. So in all seriousness, like
Yeah.
doing, gifts like that, which are the adult gifts,
Yeah.
like the things we look forward to is a robotic vacuum as an adult. But those gifts free up other space and time to be able to do the things that we really want to be doing, which is not sweeping up the floor 4 times a day.
I totally hear that. This is so funny. I'm such a loyalist. Like I invested a few weeks ago actually in a Dirt Devil, like a nice like Dirt Devil, and I'm just in love with it. And then my immediate impulse was like, Dirt Devil's gonna be jealous.
Devil's gonna be jealous. I love it.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
She's gonna
Okay,
be like,
listen, I don't mean to cause any risks in the home front. So you will sort this out and then you can come back and let us know how it's going. I want to hear what you end up buying yourself.
Can I throw? I have to tell another contender was, and it's kind of hard because I'm in an apartment, but a contender was getting a PA system for when we do open up and I'm producing shows again. And I thought I was hoping secretly before you told me about Ufi that you were gonna say you should get a karaoke system and we'll rock out some karaoke together. So that's where I thought you were gonna go with it, but
I'm sorry, that's not where I went.
no, no, it's not. It's not where you went.
But that would be fun too. That would be so fun. Ron, this was a good show.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
helping me turn my day around.
Oh, always, Rachel. This is what I'm here for. The one thing I do is turn people's days around.
Yes. Now that is an offer. That's a tagline. That's an offer to make and to go out and sell that. But I know you're almost fully booked. So if people want to get on your schedule, they're going to have to reach out soon because where are you booking into? Are you in like March or April at this point?
Definitely mid March. Yeah.
Awesome.
But I just like I was talking to I did an interview for my little podcast yesterday, and it's not little, it is a podcast. I don't know why I said little podcast. Wow, hello, from my podcast yesterday, my solo podcast, and a client of mine who's a travel agent, her name is Samantha Schultz, and we talked about what like vacation or travel as this like contextualized place where you go, I'm just gonna focus on what I want to do. So vacation is to do what you want to do, and I'd never looked at it that way. And then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, you know what? Like I've always had this desire, and especially after the divorce, I was like, I just want to go to Israel for like a week. And I have family there, like all my family, all my relatives and stuff. But they're busy. They have lives. Like I don't need to see them. So I was telling Samantha, I was like, you know what my ideal vacation is? So like I'll see like 2 clients versus like 4 clients a day, and like I'll do a workshop, and then I'll do some stand up, and I'll do like one of my like full on headlining shows, and maybe go see some other shows. I was like, I like to pack that into a week. Like I want to work on vacation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Does that
Well,
sound
and
good?
that's the thing, it's your choice to make
Right.
and no judgment.
I have so many clients that keep our sessions while they're on vacation in Mexico. Like this year, like they went to Mexico.
Yeah.
They were all safe, but they're like Mexico, Cancun, something, and they're like, we can do that as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And with that, Ron, I'm going to head out because I'm in Beaver Creek. I love it up here. I love hanging out in the village. I'm going to head up the mountain and go have my day. I derive so much inspiration by being outside of my home, by being outside of my office, whether it's in nature or in just a coffee shop that I'm not in regularly or whatever it might be, or sitting by one of those fire pits. That's like one of my favorites. Yeah, I get
yeah.
some good creative energy going. So I'm going to head out and do that and enjoy the rest of our vacation that we have planned around our kids' 12th birthday, which was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday to the kids. That sounds great. We will see you next Tuesday with Carrie Ben Joseph.
Yes, awesome. All right, have a good week, everyone.